are 4 levels of paperwork a fund can show you about its own tax treatment. Almost every income ETF you own has only ever cleared the first one. 2 funds in this portfolio have cleared the highest level, and they got there through completely opposite mechanisms. 3 funds haven't cleared it at all, including my own flagship position. Quick context if you're new here. I'm building a 5-fund income floor in public: GRNI, QQQI, GPIQ, TPAY, and GPIX, using return of capital distributions as the tax engine. ROC means the distribution isn't taxed the year you receive it. It lowers your cost basis instead. That's why this channel obsesses over paperwork most people skip. Every fund in this sequence gets asked 2 questions. First, does it have a special tax provision written into how its options work? Second, is its return of capital actually reliable? Most people assume those questions have the same answer. They don't. 2 funds in this lineup answer yes to the second without ever touching the special tax provision behind the first. QQQI is the only fund in this sequence that writes options directly on a broad-based index, the NASDAQ 100 itself, not an ETF that tracks it. That distinction pulls it into Section 1256 of the tax code, forcing the fund to mark its option positions to market at fiscal year end. Real, structural, written into the tax code advantage. It's QQQI's route to the top, but not the only route. QQQI's audited annual reports show 95.8 to 97.2% ROC across 2 fiscal years, but it goes 1 level deeper. QQQI has also filed Form 8937, a signed statement to the IRS, under penalty of perjury, of the exact basis adjustment on every distribution. Fiscal year 2024, 98.24%. 2025, a blended 96.25%, moving 94.4 to 98.9 month to month, not a round number, a real one. GRNI, GPIQ, GPIX, ROCY, and ROCQ don't have that provision. None of them write options directly on a broad index. GPIQ and GPIX sell calls on an ETF that tracks their benchmark. ROCY and ROCQ run a call spread. Sell a call, buy a higher strike call on index exposure, not the index itself. And GRNI, despite the simple covered call label this channel has used since video 10, is actually running the same kind of spread. The simple fund in this lineup has been the quiet overachiever in the option strategy classroom the whole time. For all 5, ROC only happens when the fund distributes more than it actually earned that period. An outcome, graded fresh every period, no special provision guaranteeing it. GPIQ and GPIX are proof this swings hard. 77.8% ROC in fiscal year 2024, up to 95.65% in 2025. And ROCY and ROCQ's own prospectus says the quiet part out loud. In certain years, the fund may distribute no return of capital at all, and no assurance can be given regarding the future tax character of its distributions. That's J.P. Morgan, in writing, before the fact. Here's the hierarchy from the hook. Level 1, a 19A notice, a monthly estimate that explicitly tells you not to rely on it for taxes. Level 2, a semi-annual report. Real numbers, but unaudited. Level 3, an annual report, audited, but only once a year. Level 4, Form 8937, the fund zone signed statement to the IRS, feeding straight into your 1099-DIV. That's as final as paperwork gets. TPAY is too young to have its own annual report yet, but its sister fund, XPAY, same issuer, same managed distribution design, different target payout, has filed Form 8937 for 2 straight fiscal years, both at 100% return of capital. Here's the opposite mechanism. QQQ. I sells options and collects premium. That's income, and ROC only shows up once distributions exceed it. XPAY and TPAY do the reverse. Buy deep in the money options on the S&P 500 for exposure, fund a fixed payout by design, and route any actual investment income into a separate non-ROC distribution on purpose. One fund earns its way to ROC. The other engineers it. Both landed at the same top tier of proof. A 19A notice is a fund's guess. A semi-annual report is its rough draft. An annual report is its final exam. A Form 8937 is the fund raising its right hand and telling the IRS under oath exactly what happened. QQQI and XPAY have both done that. GRNI so far has 0. This is not tax advice. Consult your CPA about your specific situation. This maps onto something anyone who's tracked a physique knows. A progress photo in good lighting is a 19A notice. Tells a story, wouldn't bet money on it. The bathroom scale is the semi-annual report. Real, but it moves with water and food and doesn't explain itself. A body fat caliper, done consistently, is closer to an annual report. Audited, occasional, more trustworthy. A DEXA scan is Form 8937, the only one that tells you with certainty what changed and why. Most people train off the scale their whole life and never get the DEXA scan. Most investors do the same with a 19A notice. Here's the reversal. GRNI's semi-annual report, period ending April 30th, 2026, shows $2,041,649 in ordinary income and $0 of return of capital. 100% ordinary, a full reversal of the running 19A estimates this channel has cited since video 10. Two things worth being precise about. First, that report is explicitly labeled unaudited, level 2 on the hierarchy, not level 3. Second, this isn't GRNI failing at something it promised. It's an ordinary equity option fund getting graded for one period, and the grade came back different than the estimates all year. That's exactly what ROCY and ROCQ's own prospectus warned could happen to them too. And it's not isolated to GRNI. Overlay Shares Large Cap ETF, OVL, shows the identical pattern. 82.5% ROC for its full fiscal year, then 0% in its next interim filing. Same category, same mechanism, different fund family. Not a flaw unique to one fund. My dad used to say he'd trust a handshake before a brochure. I used to think that was old-fashioned until I started reading 19A notices for a living. A brochure is written to look good. A signature under penalty of perjury is written because the law requires it to be true. Teaching my kids to tell those apart is the same skill whether it's a fund's paperwork or anything else they'll be sold. GRNI's spot in the sequence isn't changing. The equity thesis behind it, the granny shot selection methodology, the NAV stability, is a separate question from its tax vehicle framing. The same distinction this channel made back in video 14 when ROCY and ROCQ first complicated the picture. What changes is confidence, not position. GRNI's ROC was never guaranteed. Now there's a filing that proves it. If this framework helps you read your own fund's paperwork differently, hit like. It helps more people trying to do this correctly. Find the channel. Subscribe if you want it when the next fund clears a new level of confirmation. I'm tracking GPIQ and GPIX's next annual reports for this specifically. And drop a comment. Which level of paperwork have you actually checked for the funds you own? The estimate or something higher? Full deep dives on every fund mentioned here are linked below, including exactly how XPAY and TPAY compare, fund by fund.